God of War Ragnarok is an awesome experience, and let's just start off where my day one impression was. Its opening is fantastic. It immediately sets that bar very high. It's already from the beginning setting your expectations high and already making you very happy you bought the product. And from there, you may wonder, is it going to continue to satisfy me? Is it going to continue to give me this great experience it's already begun with? And yes, it does. It continues to rise to that height and continue to go up and up. I mean, really, this is a fantastic experience. So, already, from its story, it begins fantastically. And throughout the story, we see some great character development. And I love the connections this game does. And this is an improvement from the last game with Brock and Sindri and the other characters. You feel more connected to them because we go more into these characters. We get to see them more. We get to hear them and really feel more connected with them as a whole. Like, they feel a major part of the story because they are a huge part of the story. And they just become all that more important to you as the player, and you feel far more connected to these characters. Also, from here, the story, which this is kind of a spoiler, but we see through the eyes of someone else, a different character in the story. I bet you can guess who. But from seeing their eyes, we can just also see a different perspective. One that you almost feel sympathetic and like you grow almost fond and connected to some of the characters seen as almost antagonists, like Thor and Odin, the old enemy that changes very soon. But it's interesting seeing that, and even characters like Thor, we it's not just bad guy smash stuff. It is so much more in this, like with Baldur, though with Baldur that was a different, more painful story. This is also a story that just is great, and it's a story that shows us different sides and different perspectives, and the story goes through identity of Atreus and his connection with Kratos, and I will say it also goes through emotions of Kratos and shows it expresses more of Kratos' emotions that I never thought to see, especially at the ending, which is oh so fantastic. I mean, wow, the ending is masterpiece. It is so fantastic and I love it. It is perfect. One of the best endings I've ever seen in a video game, in fact. And I think it does it voila. Like, and again, at that ending, we just see so much emotion from Kratos. It's shocking. And wow, the ending wraps up the story perfectly, leaving room for something else, yes, but it's perfect. And I feel so satisfied for how it wrapped off, how it ended off, and perfect. That ending is already like a 10 out of 10 ending, and that story is wonderful. That story is a 10 out of 10 story. It's perfect and I love it. Now, to go into the actual gameplay, which is what matters the most. You can't have a good game with just a good story and bad gameplay. No, you got to have that good gameplay, and this gameplay is fantastic. Again, from the last game, it's just like that with more innovation, such as some stuff that was showed in the trailers, like the charging of the axe, and some new stuff with the blades, which is almost like that same charging mechanic, which goes into an enemy health ball. Some new when you need to use specific weapons. And oh, with the enemies, there's so many new ones. Like, I mean, for a good amount of time, I was only seeing new enemies. Only new ones for some time. Yes, the enemies from the last game all heal, but you just don't notice them as much because there's so many new ones, and not lazily done. They have great mechanics, great weak spots, and again, these enemies just make you think in different ways, use different weapons in different ways, and overall, this also brings into the rage, which this, depending on the enemy you're facing, you might use differently. There's the rage to heal yourself, which this is a new thing, adding two new mechanics to it, the healing and the charging with a weapon stuff, and also the original Fury from the last game, when you go like Kratos from the whole fucking Greek saga, always pissed off, hitting shit, and screaming. He was always yelling in those games. But yeah, it's great, and the gameplay is fantastic here, and the environments play so much into it with some new stuff with the environments, like being able to interact, throw stuff, and the parkour, the climbing mechanics going into the combat, and having you pull off different special moves and using momentum. It's awesome. So already, gameplay's a 10 out of 10. They've added some great innovations, improvements there with the story. Fantastic. And this is another thing. When you see the eyes of a different perspective, this also goes into the gameplay. Different whole new character to play as, which, oh man. At first I was like, some PlayStation 4 controller, but just use it for example. At first I was playing it and I was like I was questioning it and I was a bit worried. Like I wasn't sure on this. I wasn't like this is awesome at first. I was like, I'm gonna wait and see how this plays out. Turned out to be awesome. Great gameplay, and eventually I was getting to bring up the controller. I was having a great time and pulling off different moves and the almost simpler way of playing it for only small parts in the story, which again just small when you have to. It was really fun though, and that was also another awesome innovation in this game. So overall, it seems incredible. And here's some more improvements brought over here, and not just with its innovations and so much more variety of enemies. With the last game, which I call Dad of Boy, or we could just say God of War 2018, that game lacked enemy variety, I will say. Often you felt like you were fighting the same enemies so much, same Drago or whatever. Drago? I can't remember. Hellwalkers in Helheim, Dark Elves in Alfheim, Dragos in Midgard, and pretty much fucking everywhere else. Ogres, trolls all the time. Wasn't much. I just named pretty much everything you face in that game. Here, you have all the enemies from the last game and so much more, which I already mentioned, and that variety is a huge improvement and step up from the last game. Next, environments, which again, this is a whole improvement with its vast, huge worlds. Like last time, these were big worlds, but I think they're even larger. Midgard has changed so much with obviously Fimbulwinter going into that. Muspelheim is larger. Niflheim, there's a lot more there, and Stranger at first has, but it adds incentive for this collectible with the whole ravens and Eyes of Odin. And everything else, again, Swarvedheim, the new realms are massive and beautiful, and they're great. Asgard having one of those awesome final scenes with, the ending, again, going to that back. The boss fights are fantastic for the ending. Fights, yes. Some great story stuff there. And the set piece there at Asgard is so incredible. I want to spoil it, but it's just amazing when you play it. And, buy this game for its story and gameplay. It's incredible. And I would just went on a whole tangent. Here's a huge improvement I want to go on, and that is the side quest. The side quest, last game weren't much. They felt lazy, just sort of tacked on. But here, the side quests are vastly improved, and I found it incredible. Like, almost Witcher level sort of side quest, or Red Dead Redemption 2 level. They felt like they had high production in it, with great cutscenes, even boss fights. Like, the side quests were well done and had some fantastic rewards, and definitely worth your time if you play this. You should go through all the side quests. That's why I've taken a whole month basically of gameplay. I've been playing the side quest and checking out this huge new world that they've added in, and the new travel systems here. All the new stuff. It's kept me busy, and I've loved everything. The story's great. Gameplay's 10 out of 10 with the story and environments, side quests. It's all just perfect. The characters, that connections, everything. Perfect. And that leads us to its rating. God of War Ragnarok. without a doubt, if you can't tell, for my opinion, is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. It is just so incredible, and what an experience. This is a game that I will be replaying like the last game, but even more. This is a game that no doubt I will play even more of, which I have lots more. In fact, I just did one of its Berserker gravestones, which is like a replacement for the Valkyries, or something new. But this is great, and so worth your time, so worth playing through, and going through the extra stuff, and so worth replaying. God of War Ragnarok, masterpiece. And you'll definitely be hearing from this in a video that I thought I did last year, my Game of the Year, which I thought I did it last year. I'm gonna have to check again, but apparently I didn't. I thought I did, but nope. Well, it's great though, and love it. I'd definitely show up in my Game of the Year, which just want to go on and add on to that. My Game of the Year, I will be talking about my favorite game from this year, but I also played enough, I feel, to a satisfactory amount to also add in my opinion for the worst game of the year, because I found a really bad game. I reviewed it, in fact. And if you check out the review, you'll immediately know what I'm talking about. But definitely going into that, and I'm just going to talk about gaming in general from this past year and that. Anyways, that'll be my next video, and I'll see you then. I'll probably have to do it on phone because the fucking computer's gone out. Anyways, till next time, bye-bye.